Our next opening keynote comes from Retired Rear Admiral and Navy Federal Credit Union board member, Annie B. Andrews. Rear Admiral Andrews is the third of only 4 black female admirals in the U.S. Navy's 247-year history. During her 32 years of service, she led the recruitment of 40,000 sailors annually and oversaw the training for 100,000 sailors to deploy worldwide. As a C-suite executive for the Federal Aviation Administration, she led the strategic partnership in human resources for the largest transportation agency responsible for aviation in the U.S. and international waters. She attributes this to her 3A of successful leadership: authenticity, approachability, and accountability. Philosophy for propelling her to historic heights and guiding thousands on their path. Presenting Listen, Lead, and Learn, please help me welcome Rear Admiral Annie Andrews.
Top of the morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here. I am so proud to see you, and what enthusiasm I've experienced. I got in last evening, and I'll tell you, the warmth, the friendliness is just amazing. So that networking and communicating and things that you're doing, please keep that up. Because you know how we come to conferences, and after that we get enthusiastic, then we go back to our offices, and then it's all over again. But at first I want to say to a powerhouse lady here, Renee Satterwhite, thank you so much for this great invitation to be here. I've never heard of AACUC until I met her about a year or so ago. And I'm telling you, just to be here and to know what's going on is just amazing. I also want to say congratulations on 25 years of dedicated, strong, vibrant, committed service from each of you. And being a part and on the board of Navy Federal Credit Union, which I want to tell you today, I'm the only person of color, male or female, on the 9 voting members of Navy Federal. Thank you. And I do have a board meeting this afternoon, so if you see me heading out of here, I just want to let you know, because I would have loved to stay and talk with you, but maybe another time. So I thank you all, first of all, for your great support of what you do to help men and women across the nation. Navy Federal, of course, is mostly with veterans and military members and their families, but you do it all for everybody, and I really appreciate that. We know there have been hard times, whether there was furloughs, whether there was devastations, people desiring to want to do things. You did it. So a great applause to each of you. And what's interesting is I heard that song that you all had when I first came in here. I wasn't sure, so can you help me with something here? When I say AA, you say C-U-C, AA. C-U-C. When I say AA, you say C-U-C, AA. Now listen up. When I say AA, you say C-U-C, C-U-C, C-U-C. AA. C-U-C, C-U-C, C-U-C. Well, one thing I didn't do well in, and that was certainly cheerleading. So thank you so much for the experience. I really wanted all this time. Thank you. The only time they did hear cheerleading, apparently, when I was in charge of boot camp, which is the Navy's only boot camp up in Great Lakes, and they thought that I was just cheerleading, but I really was just raising my voice slightly higher, you know, to get the sailors to do the things they're supposed to do. But look, let's get on into the briefing. So first, I want to talk to you. Let me just go back one. Yes. Always have to talk about family, which is important to all of us. I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for the love, support, dedication of my mother, who passed away 2 years ago in this August, and my sister, of course, to the left of me. They were the driving force. Growing up in a home as a single parent, my mom made sure that we made the next step. And that's every last thing that we all want to do, is to have that for our family and our children, to make sure they can. And something else I'll tell you is that what I want to mention to you too is that last week I participated, and I saw some of my sorority sisters out here with Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. All right, but of course I love all of my Divine Nine sisters and brothers. Okay, but what I wanted to mention to you, last week up in Chicago, I had the opportunity to actually be at the presentation when they opened the first Black-owned, women-led, sorority-based credit union. And I'm telling you, talking about knowing about the Black power, the Black economics, because we need that. And just with my colleague before me, you saw what's needed to be happening. So please keep up with what we're doing, and let's make it happen. Now, when I'm getting into lead, learn, and listen, one of the things is that growing up, my great-grandmother lived to be 105 years old. And I'm telling you, she was all in her right principles and everything. So between my sister and I, apparently I was the one that would talk all the time. So she said, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. So that means that I needed to listen. And I'll tell you, going in the military was certainly much easier, because being around great-grandmother, grandmother, mother, that was the chain of command. They made it for me. The military had nothing over them. You know, growing up in the old school ways, which I'm sure that you can remember, and you miss that. But I'll tell you, their love and affection have helped me to do many things. So as I look at this agenda, I know there's a lot of words up here. These are just a few characteristics that I'm sure you all have experienced, have seen, whether you're working with people, dealing with people, all of the many things that you've seen across your work. Some of these, of course, you have to even use at home. So as I go through these, we may not go through in depth with each of them, but I certainly want to point out to each of you. Because one of these, of the 3, and I call it the 3 A's, authenticity, approachability, and accountability. So what does that really mean? So when we talk about this, we're talking about being authentic. Be yourself. You know how sometimes, you know, you go to a place and you see some person the day or at the store and they're acting one way, and in the office they're really stiff or opposite. Next thing you see them dancing on a table somewhere, and you say, is that the same? Is that the same? Now, I wasn't here last evening, so I don't know. Disclosure, I'm not talking about anybody here, but I will tell you, I heard you all had church apparently or something the other night. So that's just amazing of the things that you're doing. But being your authentic self, you are who you are. I remember as I rose through the ranks, people wanted to oh, I wonder if she's gonna change. Starting off from a junior officer to a senior officer. And Lord knows I had no idea, so I'm just blessed to be the 3rd. But I didn't change, that was me. The same person you saw as an infant, I may have matured, gotten older, but who I was remained the same, because you have to be your authentic self. Do not let people change you because they think you should be doing this, or they think you should be seeing it this way, or you should act a certain way. You be you. So being authentic, because this is really one of the foundation of effective leadership. Another thing I enjoy doing, whether I was serving in the Navy or either at the Federal Aviation Administration, and that is being approachable to people. Now, let's say something happens in the credit union, something happens on the job, and you want to be able to tell your boss or your manager or your leader, your director. But that's going to be tough to do when you know that, oh, I can't approach them, they don't want to talk to me, they only want to hear all the good stuff, they don't want to hear the bad. I want to hear it all. I want to hear it all because let's say in your case, if money is missing, people say bad news don't get better with time. She's like, oh, I'm going to wait till the end of the day. I'm missing about $50 in my cash drawer, and I just want to wait because then I go home. No, you let them know right then and there. The same thing in the missions. We want to make sure that people are aware of things right then and there. But if you're not approachable, people are not going to come and talk to you about the real deal that's going on in your life. So I would say always be approachable. And I would love to go around, and I talk to people because I think that's important. When you talk to them, to get them know them on different bases, not just, okay, what is your work stuff today? How about how's your family doing? What's going on? And I found when I did that, people were able to come to me. Now, I must say, I did have several guards, so to speak, that would keep them away. You know how people want to keep them away from your office and, office calls and this? I understand. That's all right, too. But just get out from your desk sometime and walk around and see people. That is the old-fashioned way, management by walking around, which I found in leadership was just great. Because when I did, people didn't mind telling me things that I really needed to know, not what I wanted to hear, but what you need to know. And that's something else my great-grandmother always said to me. And then the other on those 3 A's is being accountable, I think, that helped me to be successful. What do I mean by being accountable? Accountable, responsible. Why? Now, how many of you have known someone perhaps that said when things do go wrong, they point the fingers? They're in the seat. They're the leaders, right? But oh no, Sally did it. Let me whisper over here. I had nothing to do with it. You are accountable for the people that work with you and for you each and every day. You are accountable even for those customers that come in and they may not be having a bad day, which leads me to the lead to let you know that treat people right. Treat them with the most respect as possible. And I know you see things on Twit and all those other things, and I don't know, whatever they are that are out there, but that's not how we should act. Oh, I know you feel about it someday when you have your sandwiches and all of a sudden they forgot the mustard or the pickles or something like that. You just feel like getting out. No. That's not what we do. And I know that's not your authentic self. But that's really being accountable to people and not pushing it on junior people. When things didn't go right and everything didn't always go right, I stood up in front of the captain or the admiral or the director and said, sir, I will see to this, or ma'am. Not let that junior person go ahead and get all the brunt for it and let me know how things go. No, you do that. So again, authenticity, be you. Be approachable so they can come to you, so you'll know how to respond when it's time to be accountable. These are just, I've got some pictures in here, as I'm talking with some of the sailors. And you see we've got so many different uniforms, so talking with the sailors. But one of these that struck me more than anything is the one where I participated at the bottom there at St. Patrick's Day in Savannah, Georgia. And it's always a great and big time there. And you're waving along the route and everything, but when this African-American little girl reached out to touch my hands, that's legacy. That's the future. That's who we want sitting in the seats that we are. And although it may have just embraced for a moment, it was important to me to take my time to do that. Because as your theme is about legacy, we want to leave economic and wealth to the next. So if you didn't come, maybe from a wealthy family, let's make a wealthy family come from you. Like I said, it may take some time, but let's strive to do that. No one told us. I'll tell you, my great-grandmother, she kept money in a jar. Again, she was born in December 25th, 1887. Now that place, and she would put the jar in an old barn. I'm here to tell you, I don't know how much money that will be, but I'm not going out there in that country woods to find it. I don't want to meet Mr. Moccasin, Mr. Alligator, or anything else that's out there. So if there's any wealth, it's staying in those jars. But today we have different mechanisms and things to do it. Self-awareness, empathy, and emotional intelligence. Self-awareness. You have to know who you are. I call them your liabilities and assets. Some people say your weaknesses and strength, but we all have them. We all have assets and stuff that we bring to the table, and we also have liabilities that we know. But understanding ourselves will help us to understand others on how we need to approach them, on what we need to do, and how those things will work. This would lead, when you lead with empathy, I think that is one of the most strongest character to have. Understand the difference between sympathy and empathy. And we can empathize. And that helped me a lot of times, especially dealing with situations with my sailors, a reporting of a death, a suicide, sexual assault, all those things that go on. It's no different in the military as it is in society. But you as a leader have to be there and get things done. I remember when I first came in, the military, and it was very few African Americans and African American women in places. And I remember being in my khakis there, walking on base, and I can see some of the junior enlisted going not to salute me because of who I look like. And my thing was that I'm self-aware of who I am. Are you? So think about that. It may not be you, but it may be the other person. Black, white, women, men, it doesn't matter. It's just that we have to have self-awareness and empathize with people. Now, it's something when you come in from a weekend and you're not having a good day, but the only thing that keeps you going is your job. And a lot of times people come in and they'd rather be home. Everybody calling sick, somebody want to call in, hey, it's a good day, I'm not sick, I'm just well. But we need that mental health. Now, don't go out doing this either, all right? I just mentioned it. But you need that day where you can do about yourselves and be well, okay? But take care of that mental health because that's important. Because when you have it, then you can see what the challenges that other people are going to as well. So some of these pictures, of course, just shows as sometime when I'm going through my change of command. One of the pictures that's there with the 4 gentlemen was the senior person at the time, the Chief of Naval Operations, which is the most senior person in the military during that year. And I was given the Stars and Stripes Leadership Award. And I was recognized for, again, of what I did. But I'll tell you, it was what I learned from home. It was what I was taught. It was what I was shown. And the love of family and support, why can't I do that to others? Now, I don't want to let you know that it's not like I went and hugged sailors and stuff. We got to make them strong. No, I didn't do that. So who's all my military person here? Can you raise your hand? Thank you so much for serving. Thank you. Thank you. Because of you, you have helped someone along the way. And that's what's important. So I thank you, too, for your strong leadership. Fairness, honesty, and commitment. That's what you have to do at all times. We may not like some of the things we're seeing, but we have to do what is best for everyone. And we have to be fair, and integrity makes a difference. I hope when you get a chance to go back, because each of these have some really nice quotes from people. And this one I'll read in particular. Goodness is about character, integrity, honesty, kindness, generosity, moral courage, and the link. More than anything else, it's about how we treat each other. So treat each other with the utmost respect. And when you know that you have to take a break and step back, you'll know when you will need to do that. So when we talk about fairness, let's talk about just a little bit with promotions. Sometimes we see that we have worked so hard, but they pass over us. And we're wondering why or how come. So we sit back and we're thinking, but do we ever go and approach them? And again, that's why I talk about leadership with approachable. That means if you saw something and you didn't really like what it said, and that's going to affect your record, you should be able to go and speak to the person. Because that leader should be approachable, and you should have the wherewith to go and talk with them. It may or may not change things, but they heard from you. I always tell, and women in particular, that talk to me in reference to wanting a seat at the corporate table. What are you doing to not get there? My thing is that to make sure that when you are at the table and you know everything, you know it in your mind. But I notice sometimes as females, we just don't say it. Sometimes even as males, we don't say it because we're too junior or we don't want to say anything. I'm here to tell you, while you're not saying it, the next person is getting the promotion, they're getting the raise, they're getting the bonus. But it's a way to approach it. So I say, stand up, sit up, and speak up when necessary when you're at that table. Let them be heard. And someone said, to me one time, well, suppose they don't even, I'm sitting in the back, the only one, I don't even sit at the table. And it's not that that person is taking notes, then pull your chair up to that table. Bring your own chair. Again, don't let me get you all in trouble. No, but what I'm saying to you is that please have the opportunity to be versatile, to talk with them, because no one's going to speak up for yourself. Someone told me a long time ago, I was stationed in Iceland where it's cold, and it was just many times there, just being there. But one of the things they said is nobody's going to toot your own horn but you. So make sure when you write those things, write it strong. Let them change it. Then you'll really see how they feel. Continuous learning. Even after all of the different things, they sent me to Harvard to a school for women in power. And I'm here to tell you it was amazing because there was about 55 women representing over 22 countries, and we all have the same thing about caring. Caring for children, caring for the elderly. And some of those never had the opportunity because of some of the countries they were to stand out. But we always have to be a thought leader. What is next? You've heard today so much about AI. And it's like, how do we get there? And as we become senior, we also have to remain flexible because others have just great things that they can talk to us about and that they can do. So we need to do that too. Read more, take a course, encourage your children. Yes, they may have their 4 or 5 degrees, but we have to keep up, especially in the field that you're in. Who's out there that's next? Decision making. Sometimes there's been some difficult times that I had to make decisions. And when I do, I make sure that I let them know. So being transparent is another one too. You don't want to be the one with the only secret in the room. How do you make sure that your team know your vision? Do you decide that, hey, let's do a vision board? You go back to your team to do a vision board. That's what I did in leadership. Some of those things we were able to cross off. Others, we have to wait another year because circumstance and things come about. But do that and see where could we be, and then have them to participate and be a part of it. You'll be surprised. You're not the only one with the vision. Sometimes listen to that most quiet person. They're thinking about it. They just may not say it, but they're thinking about it. So let's try to get all of that perhaps in the room. I always say, too, that communication is a beautiful thing if you would use it. So communicate, coordinate, cooperate, congregate, anything else with C's, but just do those things that's really going to help you to do that. So here I am with several of my sailors, and for me, it didn't matter who I sat with or there. I've had the opportunity to introduce a vice president of the United States. It was Dick Cheney, so don't get excited. I know you're all thinking about the current one. No, I hadn't had that opportunity, but that was years ago. But it didn't matter who it was when I introduced him. I knew, too, that to communicate effectively. I enjoyed going to see my sailors across the nation. One of my last jobs in the Navy was in charge of all of Navy's recruiting. So therefore, I had over 26 commanders across the nation, and I had over 1,500 duty stations where I would go and visit, recruiting stations. And I remember people would ask, wow, you went out in the middle of Kansas, Omaha, some of the places. Why? You came to see us? I said, why not? You're just as important to me as somebody that may be in the bigger, larger cities. So sometime by surprise, another thing I enjoy doing as a leader is picking up the phone and calling them. Now that's scared, as you know, in the military. Oh my gosh. My sergeants and chiefs and all, they were like, oh no, you're calling. I'm calling to check on the individual. Be surprised if you pick up the phone one day and let me talk with so-and-so across, especially if they're in another state or something for you, just to say how you're doing. You're not asking about business because that's going to scare your directors and managers. So they're going to like, oh no, they're going to start running. But just talk to people, send out notes. When I've had family members, well, sailors and my civilians as well that had death in the family, it took some time, but it was important for me to write a letter or send a note to say, you know what, I'm sorry to hear about. And these are things that you do. I mean, it got so much that people started letting me know when their puppies passed. I said, okay. So like I said, you have to know what limit things you can do. But remember, they're like family members as well. I mean, I did a lot of writing and typing and stuff, but that was, and I love animals, no problem. But, you know, it was all about time consuming. So again, you have to choose and select how that's going to be. Collaboration, synergy, and team engagement. Always with your team. What did Booker T. Washington said? If you want to lift yourself up, lift up someone else. I'm truly a believer in extending your hand, reaching back, and pulling forward. That's what all of us need to do to help the next generation. Your children, your workers, your employees, yourself, but to reach back and pull up so they can also be what they need to be. And have that team engagement and energy. Do some fun things. You know, I know all of us have done the personality thing, you know, and what you are. I'm an ISTJ. I mean, every time I take it's the same. I have no E in me at all. I can't even cheat. You know, people don't believe that, but I really don't. You know, but you know, again, after coming out with people, it makes it and do different things. So collaboration, synergy, and team engagement. Be a part of the team. Be who they are. Don't be where you are maybe the boss or the leader and you can't do that because, oh, this is not good enough for me, or I need to do this. You know what to do. Just show yourself to them that you are not only human, but can empathize and understand the workload that they do. And here's something else. I enjoy thanking people. It costs you absolutely nothing to say thank you, to write a note, to say how much I appreciate you. Because sometimes you never get to know every last member of your team. So please do that. Here are some positive takeaways here. Leadership should be marked by commitment to collaboration, engagement, and the creation of a culture where teamwork leads to extraordinary achievement, because that's exactly what you want to do and what you have been doing. Leaders, you should forge a remarkable achievement, meaningful connectives, and positive change. And your leadership journey should be guided by your self-awareness, your growth, and the unwavering commitment to become the best leader that you can be. And again, that's by being yourself and doing the things as needed. So I ask you the question, what will your leadership legacy be? Think about that during the time that you're here, and when you go back, what is it? One of the things I have also that I talk about a lot sometime are the 5 L's that I live by. That's live, love, learn, laugh, and leave your legacy. Because we want to leave a legacy for others. And when I say live, this is only one life. Enjoy, do it to the best. Learn, keep that constant learning. Love unconditionally. Laugh. Don't take yourself so seriously that you cannot, be able to have fun. And of course, legacy, which you're all about. So again, I thank you for everything that you are doing to help all of us. I couldn't be more proud to be here today. And with 5 seconds left, bless each of you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Take a picture. Love you all. Salute you.